Raven Elyse TV.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Raven, and today I'm just here with a chatty video. Please excuse my voice if it sounds weird. I don't know why I thought that right now was a good time to film a chatty video when I'm getting sick and I have a raspy, sore throat. But for this video, I kind of wanted to do like not really a story time, but kind of like a get to know me video, kind of a refresher, kind of a background story on me, telling my story. Who am I? You know, what's the background story to all these vlogs that I've been posting recently? Because I know I've gotten a lot of new subscribers and not everyone knows like my background story or who I really am. So I felt like it would be a good time to do like a little chit chat with you guys for not only my new subscribers, but just also to kind of help connect the dots for some of my old subscribers who just may not have paid that close attention, which I don't blame you if you didn't. I have posted a lot of vlogs in the past, a lot of Snapchat stories. If you so happen to watch every single thing that I ever post, then you probably pretty much know everything. But if you don't, then there might be some confusion or some just like, what's really going on here? So I just wanted to make this video to just like tell you a little bit about myself. So hi, my name is Raven. I am 24 years old. I turned 25 in September of this year, September 2018. I will be 25. I have a almost 2-year-old daughter named Ziya. She turns 2 on April 7th, which is coming up really soon. And yeah, so that means I got pregnant with her in 2015. And I am not with her dad. I am a single mom. Ziya and I live in this townhome, just her and I. And my parents live in the same city, just a little ways away. And yeah, I currently live in Austin, Texas, which is my hometown. I was born in the Austin area, raised in the Austin area, went to high school in the Austin area. And I had a pretty normal, middle of the road, middle class, suburban childhood. I have an older sister who is the oldest. And then I have an older brother who's number 2. And then I'm number 3. And then I also have a little sister named Maya who is number 4. So we have Ashley, PJ, me, and Maya. And my older sister, she lives in Houston. She's a nurse. My older brother lives here in Austin. He's a doorman or a bouncer at a bar, and also does like some fitness stuff on the side. And then my little sister, Maya, she's 20. She's in her 2nd year of college, and she actually goes to school way in Georgia, in Savannah, Georgia at SCAD. She's very artistic. It's an art school. She's studying like animation. So even though I have 2 older siblings that are much older than me, I actually am the only one with a child. So Ziya is the only grandchild. So my parents love her, and she spends a lot of time over at their house, especially now that I live here and they're not that far away. She gets to spend a lot of time with her grandparents, and they help me out a lot with her. But yeah, so I went to high school here in the Austin area. Not really anything too crazy to say about that. I had a pretty like normal life, I guess. I mean, everybody has different things that go on in their life, no matter how normal you think it is, but I don't have anything like crazy to tell you from high school. I guess one thing I will say about me personally is that I have always struggled with anxiety, depression, and not being the best in social situations. Like I would say like some social anxiety, some just like overall introvertedness, not typically having a lot of friends, and not typically liking to be around a lot of people in the first place. And in high school is actually when I first started my first YouTube channel and first started getting into creating content online, whether that be on my Tumblr blog, on YouTube, on MySpace, on Facebook, whatever the platform at the time back in the day. I was always creating content. I always loved to like record myself and take pictures of myself and document my outfit of the day and share it online. I was always into that from the jump, from when I was like 14, back when it wasn't a thing, back when people hardcore made fun of you for doing stuff like that and nobody made money off of doing stuff like that. So that's kind of always been my hobby and something that I've been like good at. I use a lot of air quotes because it's kind of like, so yeah, I already had a YouTube channel from the time when I was in high school, and I just kind of kept building on that and kind of gaining followers and learning kind of the ropes of how to edit videos and have a blog and stuff like that. And I kept my YouTube channel going through college. I went to college, well, I graduated high school in 2011, and then I went straight to college. I went to the University of North Texas, which is in Denton, Texas, which is about 45 minutes out from Dallas, Texas, but Denton is like a smaller college town. And yeah, so I went to UNT and I went to study fashion design. So it was a 4-year program to get a bachelor's in fashion design. And that was always one of my passions. I mean, my mom will tell you, like, even from the time when I was like 3 years old, I always wanted to pick my own outfits. I was very into clothes and fashion, and also just always been into art in general. So I did drawing, painting, photography, I did it all. And I really felt like fashion was a place where I could combine all of my interests into one. I was also interested in modeling. So I kind of had this dream of being a fashion designer who also modeled her own clothes, who also did the photography, who also designed the website, who like just being like this one woman show of doing all the creative stuff. And so I wanted to go to school for fashion design. So I did, and I started at UNT, and I made some close friends with my roommates. I was lucky enough to be cool with my roommates, and I lived with, by the end of it, I had lived with three main girls that I lived with who really became like my best friends in college and helped me through a lot of problems, helped me feel secure because they were also from my hometown. So there was times when we could like go home together for the holidays, and I don't know, we just had a pretty good connection. And even though I was kind of socially awkward and kind of an introvert and not good at making other outside friends, I always still had my roommates who were my friends, so that worked out really well for me. But when it came to junior year of college, freshman year was kind of just like, wow, a whole new world, getting used to this whole college life and dating and doing this and going to parties for the first time, because I never had any of that like real party experience or good dating experience in high school. I barely had a taste of it in high school, so freshman year was kind of like, whoa, I'm gonna explore, I guess. And then sophomore year was kind of just like, okay, we're getting kind of serious with the classes and kind of getting a real view of like, okay, this is really college. I need to buckle down. This is actually kind of hard. And then junior year was like, okay, this is really hard. This is really, really hard. I'm struggling with my classes now. This is harder than I thought it would be, even just for a fashion design program, which is supposed to be really easy. Like, people think that it's a blow-off major. It is not a blow-off major. It is one of, it's like very hard because it's very time consuming and it's very hands-on and it's very like blood, sweat, and tears went into this type of thing because you are creating things from hand, you're learning things from scratch. It's a hard major. And I guess I underestimated how hard it would be and how time consuming it would be and how just emotionally pulling it would be. But I really started struggling my junior year, and I started doubting myself. I started struggling with my anxiety and depression even more. And I started to also be in some toxic relationships. My dating experiences were always filled with drama. And just drama in general. Like, there was definitely girls at my school who didn't like me. There was definitely rumors. There's definitely just drama, just always drama in my life, whether it be with a girl for whatever reason or with the guy that I was dating or talking to. It was always drama. And I was always like just stressed out because of that and doubting myself and losing self-confidence and losing my self-esteem. And this person said this about me, or this guy said this about me, and he don't like, it was just always something. So I just really started struggling emotionally and in school, and not being able to focus in school because I'm too busy thinking about the drama or whatever. And it was a tough time for me. All the way through senior year, it just got worse because the toxic relationship issues just kept getting worse. Honestly, I started really doubting myself as a person because I'm like, I don't even, like, I'm in my senior year now and I don't know what I want to do with my life, because I had this YouTube channel I've been having this YouTube channel, but it wasn't a career. There wasn't really even very many opportunities to even make money in the, like that didn't even exist yet, really. It was just barely starting to exist. So when I was in my senior year, I still wasn't really sure, like, what am I gonna really do for a career? What am I gonna do with my life in general? Like, I started to get like kind of anxious and depressed about that. But I just still stuck to my YouTube channel. I saw that things were kind of like, it was turning into something. So I knew I wanted to keep doing YouTube, but I also still felt like, well, that's not gonna be enough. Like, I'm gonna have to do something else besides YouTube. And I didn't know what that was, and I was stressed out. And I was in yet another, basically, toxic relationship after my junior year toxic relationship finally ended, and I was so heartbroken. It took me forever to get over it. Then I got in another relationship, which ultimately ended up being just another toxic relationship my senior year. And this is when I'm really trying to just scrape things together. I was struggling so bad with my classes and stuff that I was literally just barely getting by, barely passing classes, barely sleeping at night, like everything was barely making it in every aspect of my life. And I actually ended up failing a class my senior year. At the last minute, it was like, you're not graduating because you failed a class, so you're gonna have to retake that class this summer and do a summer semester, and then you'll graduate, but you're not actually graduating in the spring like you're supposed to, or like everybody thought you were. So that was definitely like a blow to my confidence. But yeah, so I ended up failing a class. I had to retake the class that summer. So I graduated in the summer of 2015 instead of the spring of 2015. And like I said, this whole time I was in this newer relationship of that year. And also I was kind of struggling with not really struggling with my friendships, but it was a transitional part in my life, because this was when, like, it's senior year of college, like life is about to hit, things are about to change. You're not about to be in school anymore. Your peers are not going to be in school anymore. Like, you're not going to be in this bubble of being in college anymore. Things are about to change. And again, YouTube wasn't anything for me at this point. YouTube was still just a side hobby. I worked retail during college. I worked at Wet Seal, and I worked at BCBG, and I worked at Dillard's. I always had to have a side hustle, seasonal job. I had a little business that I created where I would take thrift store clothes and I would revamp them and embellish them and switch them up, you know, put my own flair on them and resell them. It was called Custom Thrift. It was a little online shop that I had. So I always had to work retail and have a side hustle to help pay for things during college, because my parents helped me to a certain extent, but they also expected me to take care of myself for the most part. So I still had to work and go to school. And, you know, I was now coming to this point in senior year where I'm like, what am I really gonna do though? Like, I can't just keep working retail. Like, what are my real career goals? And like I said, this was a transitional time for everyone, not just me. My three main friends, my three like only friends really, because of how like antisocial I was, they were also transitioning. So 2 of them ended up graduating before me and moved out. So they're gone. They're already living their life and doing things elsewhere. And then the last one, she ended up getting in a pretty serious relationship and basically like moving in with her boyfriend. So my 3 main people that I had there in college, they're pretty much gone, moving on with their life, doing other things, done with school. And I'm still just there in the apartment by myself. And I do think that that was a big reason as to why the relationship I was in at the time was not built on a good foundation, because I was not in a good place in my life. And I've experienced this multiple times in my life. It is an issue that I have. It is a bad habit that I had. I don't think I have this habit anymore. I don't think I ever will do this again. I would kind of rely on a relationship to make me feel secure, so I don't feel alone in the world. So I don't feel like I don't have any friends. All my friends moved away. I'm just here by myself. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. I don't know this, I don't know that. And I'm feeling very anxious and depressed. But at least I have my boyfriend. That was like my whole mindset. And even when things went wrong in the relationship, I was more hesitant to completely end the relationship because I always had that thought like, then I'm gonna really be by myself. Then I'm gonna really be lost in the world if I don't even have him. So that was something that always held me back because I had this backwards way of thinking, and I was personally dealing with self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, not being confident to go out and do things by myself, and not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, and feeling like I'm in this awkward phase of my life where everyone else is done with college and moving on and doing things and in serious relationships and moving away. So I would rather be in a relationship even if it's not the best relationship. And that's not good. I'm not proud of that at all. And if I could give you guys any advice, I would say don't do that. Don't feel like you have to rely on a relationship to like add stability to your life. Like, you should be able to be a stable person on your own. If you need a relationship to feel secure, then you're doing something wrong. And I can just speak from experience on that. So that is something that, like I said, I'm not proud of, but it happened. And I stayed in that relationship through all the ups and downs. Like, there was some ups, there was some positive sides to it, definitely. It wasn't all bad, but there was a lot of bad. Just to be straight up, there was a lot of arguments, there was a lot of drama, there was a lot of trust issues, just a lot of everything. Just any and everything you could think of that could go wrong in a relationship probably at some point went wrong in this relationship that I was in my senior year. I focused enough to at least pass the class. When I took it again in the summer, I graduated, and then once I actually graduated in the summer, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm finally done with school. I did it. I may not have done it on time. I may not have done it how I really wanted to do it. I barely did it, but I did it, and it's done, and now I'm ready to move on with my life. All my friends have already moved on. They graduated, they moved away, they're doing other things. I need to get it together, and I need to set some goals for myself as well. So I said, you know what? YouTube is looking like it's kind of picking up, because it was like right around the time that I graduated. It was just perfect timing that my YouTube channel started to gain more subscribers. I started to get more sponsorship opportunities. I started to make more money off of the videos themselves. And I started realizing, like, wait a minute, like, all of a sudden, it's just seemed like it happened all of a sudden. I mean, I guess it was kind of a slow climb up, but now it's like all of a sudden I actually am making enough money to have this as a career. Like, I don't think I'll have to get another job now that I'm graduated. I think I can just do YouTube full time. And that was like a whoa. Like, in 2015, I think being a YouTuber full time was still like a new concept. So it was definitely shocking to me and really exciting for me to be able to do that, and also have the perfect timing of graduating college and being able to be a YouTuber full time, fresh out of college, and not even have to get a job in between at all. It was just like perfect timing. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna stick to this YouTube thing. I'm gonna make this YouTube thing work for me. This is what I wanna do. This is what I'm good at. Through all the things that I felt like I wasn't good at in college and wasn't excelling in my classes like I thought I would, I still always did YouTube and was good at YouTube. So I felt like that was the thing that I needed to stick with, be serious about it, work hard towards it, and do whatever it takes to be a YouTuber. So that was goal number one. Goal number two was, okay, where am I gonna live? I can't stay in this college apartment. Everybody else already moved out. So I decided that I wanted to live in downtown Dallas, which, like I said, my hometown is Austin, Texas. And then I was going to school 3 to 4 hours away in Denton, Texas. And then now I'm wanting to move more to the big city of where I'm at, which would be downtown Dallas. I don't know, I just really didn't, even with wanting to be a YouTuber, I still didn't really have a desire to move to LA or move to New York or anything crazy like that. I still wanted to stay like within the state of Texas, but I wanted to feel like I was in a big city. So I felt like downtown Dallas was like the best big city in Texas, basically. I guess that's just like the idea that I had at the time. And I really wanted to feel like I didn't want to go home back to Austin. Even if it's not like I was moving in with my parents, I would have got my own apartment in Austin, but still, like, I just didn't want to go back to my hometown. I wanted to go somewhere else. I wanted to feel like I was in a big city doing big things. So I set this goal for myself to get an apartment in downtown Dallas. Mind you, at the time, I didn't have any friends in Dallas. I had a few acquaintances, I had a few people, you know, but I didn't have any solid foundation, no real friends, no family members. The only person I had was the person I was in a relationship with at the time, because he was from Dallas and lived in Dallas. So I had him. And that also kind of helped me make the decision to live there, because I'm like, okay, well, he's from there, so that works out. Yeah, but that wasn't really the main reason. I truly just wanted to live there because I thought it was like a cool place to live. I had to move there on my own. So like I said, all my roommates and previous friends, they were already off doing different things, so I was on my own. I didn't even have a car at the time. So my mom had to come up from Austin and help me do the apartment hunting process and drive me around downtown and go check out all the different buildings and see which one I liked. And I found my dream apartment. It was a beautiful downtown loft with a beautiful city view of the whole city. And it was on the 22nd floor. It was very posh, very nice. Like, a lot of movers and shakers lived in that building or whatever. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe I can actually afford this rent with my YouTube money. This is crazy. This is like my dream apartment. Like, I was so proud of myself for being able to do that. And so yeah, I signed the lease. Finally, for once, feeling very accomplished in my life, because I finally graduated college after all that mess. And now I am moving into my dream apartment, downtown Dallas, doing big things. And I'm going to be a YouTuber full-time, not having to get any other day job or anything. And I still had the relationship that I was in, even though it wasn't that much of a serious, committed, healthy relationship. I was still in the relationship, and I still felt some security from it. I still felt like there was some positive aspects of it, even though we still had our issues with trust and everything that we were arguing about and stuff like that. And we didn't really have any solid plans for our future. It was kind of one of those things where it's like, this is cool for now. Like, it may not be perfect, it may not be who I actually end up with in the long run, but it's cool for now. And we're young, and we're doing things, and we're having fun in the city, and you know, it's cool for now. Everything was feeling good until I realized that I missed my period, which normally doesn't happen for me at all. So I started to get very nervous, and a couple weeks went by, and I was like, you know what? I actually need to take a pregnancy test. So he actually went to get the pregnancy test, brought it back home. I took the pregnancy test in my apartment with him. So we both found out at the same time that the pregnancy test came back positive on the first try. There was no doubt about it. It was very positive. And of course, we were both in shock because this was definitely unexpected, unplanned. We both, you know, on that first day of finding out that I was pregnant, we both kind of just went into like planning mode. Like, okay, this is happening. What are we gonna do about it? Where are we gonna live? Are we gonna get a different apartment? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do that? Like, we just kind of went into like, make it work, make it happen, planning mode. Like, we gotta get it together and just, you know, try our best to make the best out of this situation. And we were definitely saying like, we're gonna stay together, and we're gonna raise this child together, and we're gonna figure out if we need to get a bigger apartment, etc., etc. And but we definitely, like, we weren't going to tell our parents right away. We wanted to kind of like wrap our minds around it and come up with a really good plan before we told our parents. So I didn't tell my mom right away. And what ended up happening is, I mean, like I said, this relationship was already unhealthy, and obviously I'm not gonna get into all of the reasons why and the exact scenarios that happened and the exact arguments that we had over this whole relationship. Like, I'm not gonna get into all that, but just know that there was already red flags. It was already, like I said, it already wasn't, oh my gosh, this is the person I'm gonna be with for the rest of my life, like for either of us. So it really put a lot of pressure on both of us to all of a sudden be like, oh, well, now it's not really your choice. It's not really your choice of if you want to be with this person forever or not, because either way, you're always going to be connected to them because now you guys have a baby together. So it was a lot of pressure to suddenly be stripped of that choice. And I felt a lot of pressure to make it work. I felt a lot of pressure to keep the relationship together. But that honestly didn't last long because it was only a couple days later, long story short, we got in a huge fight. In that moment, after that fight basically, is when I realized, like, no, this isn't the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. This relationship is not going to work. This relationship is not healthy for either of us. And I don't have to be in this relationship. Just because I'm pregnant doesn't mean that I necessarily have to be in a relationship that I don't want to be in, or that is unhealthy, most importantly. It was traumatic because now I am not only scared and anxious and upset about having an unplanned pregnancy and only being, I was 22 when, you know, I first found out I was pregnant. So I was young and this was kind of coming out of nowhere, and I had already made this decision to move out to downtown Dallas by myself. And that was already enough to make me very scared. But now I have this added layer of the possibility of doing this on my own, or without a partner, or without actually being in a loving relationship with the dad. It's hard to explain without giving the actual details of what actually happened and stuff like that, but it sent me into the deepest, darkest depression that I have ever been in my life. And I have struggled with depression like all my life. So I've had a lot of deep, dark moments. I've had a lot of, I've gone to therapy, I've done all that. But this was on level 10,000. Like it traumatized me. It was like, I don't know, again, it's so hard to explain without like explaining it, but it traumatized me really bad, to the point where I ended up having to go to a inpatient facility, like a psychiatric ward. And I have a video on my channel explaining this. I guess since I've already made a video about it, you guys can just go watch that video. But I never said in that video exactly what exactly caused that breakdown, if you want to call it a breakdown. I don't even remember what exactly I said in the video, but I know I didn't fully tell the truth. I didn't tell the whole story. But the reason why, now I'm telling you, the reason why I went into the psychiatric ward, went into the hospital, was because of the traumatic experience that I had after finding out I was pregnant and getting in this huge fight, and then realizing that I'm gonna be basically doing this alone. Long story short, it was kind of a mistake because they were very, like, I feel like they were a little bit misunderstood with what I needed. Like, they kind of felt like I was suicidal and I need to be checked in and I need to be on suicide watch and throw all these medications at me and blah blah. Like, it was just all moving so fast. That's not actually what I needed in that moment. What I needed in that moment was love and support from my family. So I got out of the hospital and I went back to my mom's house with, you know, my mom and my dad's house, and I stayed with them for like a month or two. And we talked about my pregnancy. We talked about my plan. We talked about everything. And I got the love and support that I needed from them, because that was my main issue at the time, was that I just was freaking the hell out because I felt panicked. I was panicking. I had a panic attack is what it was. I basically had a really bad panic attack. And that led the doctors to think that I needed to be locked up, when really I needed someone to help me get through this panic attack and help me make a plan and help me calm down. And so the doctors didn't help me at all. Like, it was the worst experience of my life, the most unhelpful, horrible experience of my life. The doctors did not help me. My mom and my dad, my mom especially, that they were the ones who actually helped me overcome that panic attack and make a plan and calm down and get my head on straight. And that's what helped me get over that hump. So now we're just at this point where, okay, we're over that. I'm calmed down now. I know what my plan is. I'm not gonna be with him. That's not the plan. We can co-parent, but I'm not gonna be in a relationship with you just because we're having a child together, when I know I have all this evidence from the past that this relationship isn't gonna work. This relationship is toxic. It's taking a toll on me, and it's not ever gonna work. So now I have this new plan of, yes, I'm going to have this baby, but no, I'm not gonna be with you. And we're gonna try to co-parent. I ended up going back to Dallas after staying in Austin with my parents to center myself. I centered myself, and then I went back to Dallas. And I stayed in my Dallas apartment for a while until it came down to the fact that I don't need to be in Dallas. Why am I in Dallas practically by myself with no other friends or family when I'm pregnant, about to have a baby, and I'm gonna need some type of support system? I can't just be out here by myself in this 22nd floor loft apartment. So I had to make the hard decision after it's only been a few months that I've gotten to barely live here. I had to break my lease, which was kind of like a very humbling moment, because my whole thing was like, oh, I don't want to move back to Austin after I graduate. I want to live in downtown Dallas. I want to do my own thing away from my family. And now, reality check, I do need to move back home to Austin. And now I'm having to pay all this extra money at this luxury apartment to break my lease. I barely even got to live here. I have to break my lease. I have to go find another apartment in Austin, because I wasn't gonna move in with my parents. That was never what I wanted to do at all. But I needed to at least be in the same city as them so I could have support from my mom and stuff. So I had to break my lease in Dallas, move back out, move to Austin. I ended up finding a pretty nice apartment in Austin, so that ended up being okay, but it was still like, you know, kind of a disappointing moment to be like, oh, I finally reached this goal of moving to my dream apartment in Dallas, and now I just have to move right back out. Luckily, my YouTube channel was still doing better and better and better throughout this whole time. I was still able to make YouTube videos when I was pregnant. You know, that's a good thing about YouTube, is that not much can hold you back from making videos. So my YouTube channel was still growing. I was still financially stable. I was able to pay to break the lease, pay to start a new lease in Austin, pay the moving company to move me right back out again, pay to get all the, you know, new furniture for my new place and switch things around and start getting the nursery set up and stuff like that. Luckily, because of my YouTube channel, because of you guys supporting me, I was able to support myself and support my future child and get myself together. And yeah, but there was a moment when it was really scary. Like, I literally had the worst panic attack of my life. I got to the deepest point of my depression in my life. I got locked up in a psychiatric hospital. My parents basically had to break me out of the hospital. I finally got the help I needed from my parents. And then I finally got settled in my Austin apartment. I was spending a lot of time with my parents, with my mom. So I was with my parents when I went into labor. You guys can go watch my labor and delivery story to hear all about that. Going into labor with my parents and my mom being the only person who was in the delivery room with me when I gave birth. I had Ziya, I had her nursery all set up in my apartment. I had a little 2-bedroom apartment in Austin. And I spent the first couple months after giving birth at my mom's house. Even though I had my own apartment, I spent the first couple months at my mom's house just to have that healing process and get back on my feet. And also they were doing construction on my apartment at the time, so I couldn't even like go home. After that, I went back to my own apartment, and that's kind of where I think a lot of you guys came in when I was doing my weekly vlogs. And I had Ziya, and I was in my little apartment and just living life, being a single mom, being a YouTuber, having a new baby, you know, going through those moments of just figuring things out as a new mom. And I had a lot of support from my mom. Behind the scenes, you know, there was still things going on with like her dad and the whole issue of co-parenting. Co-parenting has never been easy for us. It's been a very difficult thing overall. It's just hard to co-parent because it's hard to parent in the first place. When you're like in love with your husband and you guys love and respect each other, it's still hard to parent because there's still things that you guys disagree on and still things that you feel like he's not doing this and he's not helping you enough on that and you're not doing this and you're not doing that. That's already an issue when you're married. So imagine how hard it is when you're not even together and you don't even like each other. Imagine how hard that is to make decisions and come to a common ground. And people are very quick to judge people who are in co-parenting situations. They're like, you guys need to put your problems behind you and just do everything for the baby, and it shouldn't be that hard. All you have to do is, people are extremely judgmental when it comes to that. And they're very quick to blame one parent or the other, very quick to point the finger and say, well, you need to do this and he needs more time with her and you need to do that and you don't need to be, you know, I don't know, so many opinions on visitation and child support and what the parents need to be doing or not doing. And a lot of these opinions are coming from people who have zero experience in the actual situation. But it's hard and it's not that simple. It's not that simple to be a good parent. There's no like rule book or freaking instruction manual on how to be a perfect parent. If there were, then the world would be a different place. But that's why everybody has their own issues in their family, because everybody's family is different and there's always different issues that arise, that come up, that cause problems that nobody knows about. And there's a lot of things that nobody knows about in my situation that I've never shared online, that I'm still not sharing in this video. But there's been a lot of trials and tribulations and testing my trust, testing my patience, testing my sanity, honestly, and things that I've had to deal with as a mother. And I've had to say, if nobody else is gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I've had to step up and I've had to grow up and learn to be more responsible, learn to be selfless, learn to put my own emotions aside, put my own needs aside and focus on my child. I've had to just change as a person because I had no other choice. Like, this is my daughter, this is my baby, I'm gonna do anything for her. I can't make excuses, because if I make excuses, then who's going to pick up my slack? I'm who she relies on. I have since moved from my smaller to, I moved in February of last year. So it's been basically like a full year that I've lived here. I still live in Austin, but when I first moved back to Austin, I was in like a smaller 2-bedroom apartment. And early last year, I decided that I wanted to move into a bigger space and a space that just felt more like home. So I decided to move into this townhome, which is more spacious and more of like a real house setup. So I moved last year and I've been living here for the past year. And again, that was something that I had to do on my own in terms of paying for everything and all that stuff. It's my responsibility to make sure that my daughter is good, to make sure that she is going to a good preschool, that she gets taken to preschool every morning, that the groceries are stocked up in the fridge, that she has the clothes that she needs, that we have the living situation that we need, that I have gas in my car so I can take her to school. Like, I'm the one who's with her every single day. And that's been a huge just learning experience, a huge transition from being someone who was fresh out of college, just barely figuring out what I wanted to do with my life, to now being a full-time YouTuber. My YouTube channel is still steadily growing, and now I'm a full-blown mom. I don't know, that has been quite a crazy experience. It's been quite a transition. If you guys have been watching my vlogs from 2015 up until now, you've seen a lot of that transition, but again, you don't know a lot of the behind the scenes and the stuff that I've had to deal with throughout the whole process. It has not been easy at all. I have a lot of responsibilities. I work really, really hard on my YouTube channel because I'm trying to maximize this career opportunity to its fullest extent, because I feel like that is my responsibility, to work as hard as I can to maximize this as much as possible so that I can be a successful person for my daughter, and I can have a full savings account and I can start accounts for her and stuff like that. So I work really hard And I focus a lot on my YouTube channel. So, I mean, that's why you guys don't really see me doing much else besides YouTube and being a mom, YouTube and being a mom, YouTube and being a mom. That's my life. I really don't do much else other than that. I don't really have a lot of friends. I still basically just have my main best friends that I always had. I'm not dating anyone. I haven't been on a date ever since, you know, my last relationship. And I don't really know exactly what's gonna happen with that. Only time will tell. But as of right now, I'm just a single mom, focusing on being a mom, focusing on maximizing this amazing opportunity that I've been given to be a YouTuber, which just seemed like it just fell in my lap at the right time. So I'm really trying to just make the most of it. And yeah, so now you see on my channel with my mom vlogs, you kind of just are seeing my daily life after all that has happened. This is me. I know that I didn't really quite answer everything, but maybe you can kind of still connect the dots, hopefully. But yeah, that's me. That's my life story, basically. And I just wanted to fill you guys in, so hopefully you found this interesting. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know more about my story, then subscribe to my channel. Keep an eye out for any future vlogs that I post. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.